Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is LolaAjisafe here. We're back to Ready to Love. This is season 7. Yeah, 7, I think about it. Episode 2. These clowns when I came up with the title Tickle my Pickle. We're gonna go into it. But first and foremost, it's back. I'm back. I'm happy to be back. It's been a minute, haven't had time to really discuss, break things down. And I sat down maybe earlier in the day, I was like, I'm ready, like, come on, let's go. I've missed it, the interaction. Hopefully we can do a couple lives, just have fun. Really, this is a great outlet for both of us just to kind of talk about this show. And of course, discuss dating in a more fun, cheerful light, as opposed to, ding dong, the witch is dead, dating is sad, dating is this, dating is that, because for those of us who are single, that's likely the process we're going to need to go through to meet him. So let's go. So pretty much housekeeping rules, please don't forget to like the video. More importantly, I always love to hear what you guys are thinking about what I've said, or what your own opinions are, since we're not doing like a live format yet. So I really want to hear what you guys think about everything. And last of all, if you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. Let's just see how this goes. I just really want to get a format where we can kind of go back and forth instead of me just kind of spitting out what I think at you. But we'll kind of find a way as we go along. And I have said in the previous video that we're going to kind of use these as reflections. So I'm not going to give you like a blow by blow detail of, okay, they went to the shop, then they left the shop. I'm just going to pull stuff out and just like chew it up, and then y'all can continue in the comments. So without further ado, let's go. Right, so we have the lunch brunch. They always have this luncheon thing. They usually call it a brunch, but today we call it a lunch. So they have the luncheon where all the contestants meet. Uncle Nephew Tommy decides to introduce 4 more contestants, 2 guys and 2 girls. I think Fabrice, Mr. International Zaddy, Mark Anthony, the reformed I used to be, I'm not a whore. I'm not sure what he's going with that. Then the 2 ladies, Cynthia and Jonique. I'll kind of tell you how I feel about them as we go along. I've already told you how I feel about the guys clearly. But let's just see how this goes. Of course, this is Uncle Nephew Tommy reminds the guys that this is voting week for them. So pay attention, because you're going to send one of the ladies home this week. All right, well, you're going to be sent home next week, but that's okay. Let's see how this goes. So going in, as we're talking brunch, one of the meetings that I thought was interesting was when Mark Anthony sat down with Corvea, and Mark Anthony's breaking down, in his confessional who he is. I won't call myself a player, but I keep it honest, I don't lie. So long and short of what he's trying to tell me, like, he liked to play, but he liked to tell the truth while he's playing. So I don't know what he's calling himself. Whatever he calls himself, but if someone has to start the introduction off with, I'm not a player, but, then sis, it's all there in the book. That's what he's trying to say. But I mean, he's perfect material for this show, because he will give them, I think he's going to give them a lot of material to work with, because he is easy on the eyes and he fancies himself to be a player, but he's not a player because he tells the truth. But yeah, that's what I got from it. So he sits down with Corvea, and Corvea is honest about how finances are a huge factor for her in dating someone. And I have to compliment her for that, because at this point, if that's what's important to her, that's what's important to her. I don't think anybody has a right to say she's this or she's that, or make her feel less than because that's what she requires or that's what she wants. That's what she wants. That's fine. She can go with that. What's his name? Mark Anthony's like, oh, I think, she gives him gold digger vibes. So if you don't have the gold to dig, then really that's of no concern to you. I'm just saying. I'm not saying I'm either here or not for it, but I'm just here to let's see how everything, let the chips fall where they may, because we do have this whole movement about, yeah, she needs to come with it. She's this 50-50 conversation, like she needs to bring it. You want to be a man, you want to be a woman. It's becoming too much of us against them, or me against her, or him against her. And yeah, I'd like us to dead this. If she doesn't have what you want, stage left. If he doesn't have what you want, stage left. Let's not break down and criticize what they say they're looking for, even if they may not know what they're really looking for. We have to take them at face value until they do something else. Maybe their actions or via something else makes us think differently. But at this point in time, I don't appreciate him saying that she has gold digger vibes. because we could go back and forth on this all day, because nowadays, I'm just gonna digress a little bit. Nowadays, guys are gold diggers. They're chasing us because they're looking for money, not because they think, oh, she's this or she's that. And so there's now a whole vacuum or different space of where women now not only have to look out for the player vibes, but you also have to look out for the men who are only interested in what you bring to the table. But at the same time, they want what you bring to the table. They want to do 50-50, but they want to control you. Don't get me started. That's why I said I don't want to start breaking down or criticizing what people say they want or what they say they bring into the table, but I just didn't appreciate him saying she brought gold digger vibes. She may do more for me to say, okay, fine. But either way, if that's what she says she wants, that's what she wants. Then, you know, going around the luncheon, Z, she walking around trying to question the guys that, you know, I was almost sent home yesterday. Which one of you sent me home? Sis, you know, I always say that if you're going to do this show and you're not one who has watched it, go back and watch it and come up with a game plan, because everyone who's done that in the past has gone home. I'm just saying. And I think, and it's understandable, rejection doesn't feel good. And in the midst of that almost rejection, I think she kind of got lost, because that, and most of the guys felt a little put off by, and it's true, it's a game, because I understand her confusion, because right in front of her face they're all being nice, giving her a hug, being pleasant, but in the room or behind the scenes they're like, oh yeah, I didn't gel with Z. So I guess most of the people who get sent home like this would rather you told them face to face, but that's not the name of the game. You're pretending you're playing a game, so you have to keep your cards close to your chest. That's what's going on. So Z, for a game like this, the guys are keeping their cards close to the chest. That's just how it is. That's the nature of this game. That's the nature of the beast you signed up for. So that already, you shot yourself in the foot doing that. There was a scene where I think Jeffrey, who I think is, you know, Jeffrey's in her 30s. I don't remember. Jeffrey is she 33, 34? Anyway, Jeffrey, who's mother of three, who I think who appears to be, this is episode 2, appears to have a gorgeous spirit in, as well as she looks good on the outside. So Jeffrey was sitting down with Andre, and they were having a conversation. They seemed to have like a good back and forth. And then Cynthia, I think that's one of the new ladies, is called Cynthia. She came and sat down with them. I love, you know, Jeffrey's response and the way she took it. She just, you know, hey, how you doing, girl? And she picked her drink up and got up. Like, sis, she said, like, if this is supposed to be my guy, then we'll end up together. Like, okay, as a human being, you always tend to be drawn to people who share your same ideals. I'm with that. Like, I don't need to twerk and do all this, make you pick me. Like, if your number 6 doesn't tell you to pick me, then I'm not the one for you. So she's like, what I'm not going to do is dance and jiggle for you. Nah, sit down, talk with her. You make that decision. You decide. I respect that and I like that. And that sets the tone and it sets the table, period. All right, so leading into the group date number 1. So they set up a group date. I think it was 6 guys with 2 of the new ladies. New ladies are Cynthia and Jonique. I don't remember their ages, but they both seem to be like, you know, entrepreneurs or like business owners, is from what the title they were given. So what they're doing this season is to bring about a way of making sure that people they introduce later on don't come up as a loss because they didn't have enough time to gel with the individuals, with the contestants. So now they've got this format where, you know, when they first come, they'll have them sit down with a bunch of the guys and just kind of get to know the guys to make up for the day they lost. So they have 6 guys at the table. First person that comes is Cynthia, and you know, they're like, the guys are all excited. I don't know if the producers put them up to this, but the producers put them up to this, I don't know, to just see if they could hang. So now they're like, you know, it's 5 questions. Let's see what's going on. And so one of the questions the guys ask is, who's your type at this table? Like, yo, Cynthia, she looked at them. Her answer was like, yo, I'm not new to this, I'm true to this. Like, you're all my type. But I love the way she went to expand on, because I think that's true for many women. It's for women. Men, I don't know if they can say the same thing, but for women, yes, up front it's like it's nice to say, oh, he's nice, he's good looking, but that's merely just admiring artwork in a museum. What women really look at is, yes, there's one thing when you look at the other package, but another whole thing when you talk about the personality, the attitude, how they are, how they smell, like all of that brings a whole different so she's like, yeah, everyone's my type, because it's not just one thing. You can't judge a book by its cover. I can see you, how you look, but how do you speak? How do you think? How do you smell? How do you even carry yourself? Do you have some muscle mass? All these things that all play a part. She made perfect sense. Then they went on to another thing. I don't know how they got to this about, you know, same dumb question about the alpha stuff. She's like, well, you know, I might be, you know, I don't know how he asked the alpha question. This was Andre asked something about alpha question. I don't know how he asked it, but what I like is the way she responded. Now, I may not say that I'm very submissive, but I don't see a problem with submitting to your partner. But that submission comes in a space of, you know, where you feel safe. Where you feel safe. To me, I feel it happens automatically because your guard is down and you fall naturally into who you really are. Because we all, I believe, as human beings, whether you're male or female, you have both a masculine energy and you have a feminine energy. And that masculine energy brings different traits and feminine energy brings other traits. When you're in your masculine, you know you're being a certain way, you're being assertive, you're being this, you're being that. So you'll find a lot of women at work, they'll be in their masculine. But at home, when you feel more relaxed, when you feel safer, you shut it down and you become in your feminine. And men can do the same thing too, where, you know, with a certain person, you know, someone they trust, they can actually be more vulnerable and be a little softer and be in their feminine, be more understanding, pay more attention, listen, sense, read her. That's them being in their feminine. So everybody has both sides, but it really depends on how much time you spend in each side. I always say, as a woman, I'd rather be with someone who spends more time in their masculine than I do. That would be like the decipher point or deciding point, other than this, that, all this alpha is nonsense. So what she did say that I thought was really cool. She explained why she can be very, you know, tough and independent. She said, look, I've got children, I've had to go out there and fight for mine, had to go for mine. And so I've been required to have that energy. But when I'm with him, that person, that man who's for her, I want to drop it to the side. I want to be a woman. I want to be this. Like, I don't want your position. Boom. I don't want your position. I don't. Have it. Have at it. And I feel like a lot of women feel like that. Like they've been put in a position where they've had to fight. I've had to fight all my life. But they've had to fight. They've had to go out there and get theirs. So there's that energy that they know they can tap into. But there's also the other side where they can relax and be softer. I won't say more of themselves, because both parts are being themselves, but they're just in different spaces. So I do like that she was comfortable enough. Open it up. Like, yeah, I can be that at work, but that's not what I want. Like, I want to stay in my panties. You can keep your boxes. I know what's required. Like, I don't need to lead. Y'all can hate me if you want to, but don't shoot me, because I get her. I get it, and I'm right there with her. Jonique comes in later, they throw the same question at her. Jonique answers the question in a similar way, but in a different note. She's more sassy and she's this, but Jonique talking like she got some sense too. So right off the bat, Jonique and Cynthia appear to be like, you know, they're different, but they both have sense. That's just my first observation. This is just episode 2. Like, the chips are just beginning to get peeled. They haven't even fallen. Chips haven't fallen on the table yet, but they're just beginning to unravel. So I like what I'm seeing. Like, in terms of, because when I'm looking at the women, it's one thing for the packaging, but as a woman, when I look at them, I'm like, yeah, they look like they got some sense. I like to see women operating with some sense. And so I'm like, yeah, they answered it too. And then, as you know, they walk the ladies off to their cars, and Jonique says something like, yo, 2 guys walk off to a car. Like, yo, chivalry is not dead. Yes, ladies, chivalry is not dead. I don't know who hates someone walking to them to the door. I don't know anyone who hates someone opening the door for them. Yo, please, anytime, any day, please open my door. Please pull my chair. All right, so we get the first solo date of the episode. Well, 2 first solo dates, and I'm going to kind of put them side to side the way they did in the episode to buttress a point. So we're going to start with Marcia and Tony. So we know Tony is like a tax director. Marcia, I believe she's like a fashion designer. You know, she comes in, she look nice. I like her little outfit. The colors are a mix of she's got like polka dot something or checks. I don't remember what it was, but it was a black and white pants, and then with a like color block, she threw in a color like a red top. Nice figure, nice presentation. She comes in. Uncle Tony, he come in too. He's looking nice and clean and dapper. That's nice. But what I liked was they seem to have, and maybe it's all editing, because you know editing is everything. Maybe it's all editing, but they just seem to have a smooth, natural flow of conversation where she's opening up. Then Tony got me with this. Like he's like, can we pray? You know what? If you use that to play me or play any woman, God is coming for you. God is coming for you. But if that's who you are, then I'm with you, Tony. But yeah, Tony got me with that. He's like, let's pray. And he held her hand and they prayed. So why is that important for me or for any other woman? Is because if you're a Christian, right, you want to believe that, and as Christians, we believe that the man is the head of the household. If your head is not praying, that's already, you're already struggling uphill. That's an uphill battle already. I don't want to be going to church while man is sleeping in bed at home. That's not for me. Now, some other people might be okay for it. So that's why it plays an important part. When you first meet someone, they're showing you who they are in terms of their spirituality. I'm not saying you need to go to church every day or you need to go to church 3 times a week. But if you're not putting God in a certain place in your life, and I am already, that makes us somewhat incompatible. Because there's going to be a point, there's going to be a time where I'm going to want you to pray for me, to pray over me, because as it's dictated when we talk about, I'm not going to go all into church now, but when we talk about scripturally how it is, we have God. We're talking about a triangle. God is right up here, and you have your husband here, and you're right there. And a lot of the time, they say that the man covers you. Hence the term when provider comes into the conversation. He's not just providing money, but he's providing spiritual coverage. You're going to provide spiritual coverage for him too. But you want to be a time like sometime when you're really down and you don't got it, he needs to have it. You shouldn't be the only one praying and fasting and walking around at night talking to God. If both of you are doing that, that makes it such a bigger win. Because I think I've said this before. One person may slay 1,000, but 2 will slay 10,000. So if you're both in agreement spiritually, you can blow your stuff up to the power 10. So him just holding a hand and saying, let's pray, with cameras rolling, with her there, a new person. Now he might be playing, he might be trying to game us, but God's come for him if he's trying to game us. But if that's truly, to me, that kind of made me notice, and okay, who's Tony again? All right, Tony, I see you. But that's why it's important. It's important not because it's just for show, but because when all the dust, fades away and it's just the two of you, and you're in a room and something is going on, it's not just about talk. Sometimes you can't talk stuff away. Sometimes you need to kneel down and pray. And so if he can do that now, then I'm expecting him to be able to do that then. But these are other things, because people do game. People do try and game the system. People do try and trick you and try and show you who they are. But just keep watching. But so at the leaderboard, this is 1 point for Tony. But I would still say and insist, keep your eyes peeled, because they say what's in the world is in the church. So demons know how to pray. So I'm not just saying like he's a win. I'm just saying I can admire that now. But my eyes are on him. Like if he playing me, the Holy Spirit's going to open my eye. I'm going to see it. So that's the first part I liked. Another part about the date that I liked, they seem to have like an easy chemistry. Question now is, with this easy chemistry, was it because, she felt comfortable with him? Or was it because he felt comfortable with her? Or was it a little bit of both? Like when you sit down and have a great date, who really sets the tone? Is it the gentleman who is confident enough in himself to really try and meet the woman where she is and give her room to be her, so he can get to feel her, get a sense of who she is, and then tell her who he is? Or is it just like, kind of both? Because it's almost like a dance. Like a great date, it's almost like a dance. Like, can you really calculate that dance? Or is it just two people with great energy just meeting at the right time and just everything kind of aligned? I almost want to say it's a little bit of both. But let's see. Now, in comparison to this other date here between Z and Blake. Now, one word I think when I think about that date was, it was so awkward. It's hard to say, but just off the strength, just looking, and maybe it's easy to say because I'm looking from outside in, they already just seemed incompatible. They couldn't get a conversation going. Blake fancied himself to say he was trying to get out of his shell. But I would say this, like Blake, like, yo, like if you see someone who is nervous, uncomfortable, hammering her like that, like boom, 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 it is not going to make her open up. It's going to make her close even tighter. What you could have done was sat back and just played it a little softer. He was a little too, this is not a job interview. You're not, so he even admitted that it got to a point where he was interrogating her because he was trying to open her up. No, your tactics were producing the exact opposite of what you said you wanted. So right there, like, bruh, don't know how to be with a woman, or were the cameras making you nervous because you were producing the exact opposite result that you wanted? And I think this is true for anyone. You're not going to make me feel comfortable and open up if you're coming at me with that kind of energy. Energy is everything. His energy was all wrong. I don't know what he was feeling like. He know everything because he's older than her. Wrong. Like, Blake, you keep this up, you're going to be home in a minute. Like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And in the midst of him hammering her, did she get anything about him? What, an alternative method, I don't know if they did that, it just wasn't shown, was maybe him, maybe talking a little bit about himself and saying, hey, what about you? Not just what you see, what you do you like butter, do you like bread, do you like red? No, talk a little bit about yourself and then bring her in. And then talk a little bit about yourself and then bring her in and see how that works. I didn't see that play out, but maybe it was editing, I don't know. All right, so second group date was, 6 of the ladies, I want to say, and then 2 of the new guys, Fabrice, International Zaddy, and what his name is, Mark Anthony. I'm a player, I'm not a player, I'm retired, I'm not retired, like, I'm still coming up with a title for him. So I'm just going to call him a retired. I want to say, hey, Joe. So we'll figure it out. We'll figure out a name for him because he's saying he is, but he isn't. But he brought it into the conversation because I didn't say that to him. I don't remember anyone saying that to him either, but he brought it up. So we're going to work with it because sometimes people tell you who they are. That's the truth. Not even sometimes. Most of the time, people tell you who they are. Believe them and watch their actions to support or dissupport what they've said. Because when the two come into line and they're in sync, then you get to see who they really are, what they say and what they do. They need to be in sync, and then you get a real sense. But I digress. So it was Mark Anthony and Fabrice come to the table to meet 6 of the new ladies. Right off the bat, right? Fabrice talked about, I'm a French. So he knows that the French accent is quite attractive. So he's playing off on it. But my G. Like you 44 or something, like you still playing that game? Okay. And then he goes straight bam smack into how sexual he is and this and that and blah 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 blah. But he goes on to say behind the scenes that was a ploy where he was trying to get a sense for the women, whether they're this or they're that. I still say a little too much, but this herein lies where I think we as women are not always aware, but sometimes we're told. Right there, when they tell you that men play more games than women, when I tell you that they have schemes and methods they use to try and reel you in, coming up with a game plan, they don't come to the table all natural and but I shouldn't generalize. A lot of men, and this all stems from some kind of insecurity or some kind of, I don't know what it is, but they come with a game plan, like they want to play. He can't come off genuine because his ploy of bringing up sexuality and this so early in the game was to get a sense of who, no, my guy. I'm sorry, I don't agree with that. But I emphasize this point here, not because it was talking about sex, but because it just makes us see that a lot of men have little games they play. Beware. Men play more games than women. And this is an example of it. Because he's saying, I'm going to take his word for it. He's saying he decided to launch this into a new conversation with new ladies. Because anyone will tell you if a gentleman brings that topic up right off the bat, that kind of tells you where his head is at. That kind of tells you where he's taking this to or where he wants it to go. And that's not where you're trying to go, right? For the most part. Like, if you're trying to go there, then by all means keep up with him. But if that's not what you're trying to do, if you're really trying to make a connection, starting off there is not where you want to be. And he did. And his excuse or reasoning was that he was trying to play a game and figure it out. I don't know, but let's wait and see. So we get to the gentleman's lounge. The gentlemen get, they're discussing. At the top of the leaderboard, they bring up Mercedes, they bring up Morgan and Jeffrey. There's something that Andre said that to him, that he said about Jeffrey. He's like, yo, if you're looking for a wife, she's the one. But he also did say that he had a new interest in Cynthia. So sometimes, women, you are the total package, inside and outside, and you sometimes ask yourself that, oh, he didn't see me, why didn't he this, or why didn't he that, why didn't he pay attention, why didn't he call me back, like why, all the whys you may have. And I promise you, a lot of the time those whys have nothing to do with you, but everything to do with what his intentions were to begin with. So if he's seeing you and like, yo, I'm not serious about her, or yeah, I'm trying to game her, but I can't game her, or whatever the case may be, if his intentions are not true and genuine to begin with, and he sees a certain thing behind you where you already, so as a person with a full package and boundaries, unspoken boundaries even, that they can sense, if somebody is playing, approaches you and is playing, whether it's 1 week, whether it's 2 weeks, whether it's 4 weeks, or whether it's 3 months, the person will all of a sudden drop off. That was, you know the popular saying, a rejection is God's protection, for real. So I just say this randomly to say that sometimes when that happens, because look, I'm just looking at Andre is saying like, yo, that's the wife package there, but you know, got my aunt Cynthia. So it's not to say that one is better than the other, but sometimes you will get that. You'll just be like, I think every woman has this story where you thought everything was great, then all of a sudden it wasn't. All right, so going into talking about elimination dates. So now they've decided that the two people at the bottom are Corvea and Z. Corvea is at the bottom of the leaderboard because, I won't say some of the gentlemen, but so far I know that, you know, Lyndon has issue with her. Actually, Lyndon and the other dude, who's the other dude she sat down with? Mark Anthony, have some issue with what she says she will take and won't take. Well, you have a problem with lady standards? But we ain't judging you because you're going for a woman who looks a certain way, are we? But this is neither here nor there. I'm simply reporting the facts and breaking them down. So anyway, so we have Blake and Z at the bottom of the leaderboard. But I think this is, and of course at some point, Uncle Nephew Tommy tells the guys that, you know what we discuss here stays here. We know from season to season, everything that gets there gets spilled to the ladies. Watch, by episode 4, 5, they're going to be spilling milk, like they're going to be singing like canaries on both sides. So, but he still has to say it anyway. So anyway, I think because a lot of times they do say, because they call the elimination dates bubble dates, but a lot of times they have the dates in isolation, so the women don't know, they wouldn't have known when the men met. But I think one thing that would have told them off this particular episode was, you know, Blake meeting up with Z, because Z already knows that they had their date was a dud. Can I drop something to make it dud? Drop like lead. So she's like, why do I have another date with this guy and it was a dud the last time? And then likewise, Corvea meets up with Lyndon. Corvea already knows that Lyndon is really feeling some kind of way because he has a roommate and that's not what she's for. So she's like, So already right there, I think as soon as you see those people, be like, yo, it's elimination day. All right, let me get my game face on. Yeah, that's what I think. That's what I would think anyway. Because why would they pay them up again? So I don't know if that's what the producer's doing to help people out, so they won't just, I don't know. Let's see how it plays out. But so already I feel like both of them know. So first of all, Lyndon decides to go with a more softer approach in terms of saying that, okay, well, if you have certain preferences, you should have a softer way of saying it. All right, okay, fine. So they hug and we know she's going to stay. And we know, of course, you know, Blake eliminates Z. I think when you look at these two men, before I go into elimination, is like, you know, on one hand, Corvea's on the chopping block because her standards have come into question. And Z is on the chopping block for how she has presented herself so far. I think I've said this before, is as long as you're presenting yourself that's authentic to who you are, you've got nothing to lose. Whether you leave the first day or if you leave the last day. If you don't meet someone or if you meet someone, as long as you can be, you know, be authentic to who you are, what you represent, whether the camera is on or off, then you've won already. Because what you don't want to do is have yourself misrepresented on camera, and then you don't have a chance to redeem yourself. So, you know, I leave it where it may. So of course, you know, they eliminate Z. This must be something new. They ask her if she has any last thoughts, and she goes into this cute little exit. Then, me. I don't know, but she sang some line. I don't remember what she sang, but I thought it was a nice, cute little exit, as opposed to, you know, the terror, like, oh my goodness, I'm gonna die because I got kicked off. I like that energy. I want us to keep that same kind of energy. And here we are at the end of episode 2. So Z's gone home. But guys, we're at the end of episode 2. I'm back. I'm happy to be back. I really want to hear what you guys think. So please don't forget to like, tell me what you think, and subscribe if you haven't already. Lola, over and out. Thank you.